Hey guys, this is Dennis, the founder of Think Hero.
And this is Roth, the resident film and television geek.
And here's our review of Dollhouse Season 2, Episode 4.
Belonging.
This episode was written by Jed Whedon, Joss's brother, and his wife, Marissa, who also helped write Dr. Horrible.
Not too shabby.
And the fantastic Epitaph 1 episode.
Yeah.
For you Star Trek fans, Jonathan Frakes, who played Commander Riker in Star Trek The Next Generation, directed this episode.
And he did a tremendous job of directing.
Yes.
It was really well written, but it was also powerfully directed. The shot selection seemed to be stronger this week, the editing, everything. The storytelling was just spot on, the acting, everything.
So overall, I thought this episode was my second favorite episode of Dollhouse ever, next to Epitaph 1.
Epitaph 1 still takes the cake, yeah.
So what'd you think?
I loved it. I was so glad to see Sierra's origin story, and she is a tremendous talent.
Yeah, Daichin Lockman.
Yeah, she's really, really, really talented. And I had always thought that. I'd always thought that Sierra and Victor were a great support cast. And then whenever they showed up and whenever they were engagements, I really bought it. But what brought it over the edge for me was the way she was able to pull off that hospital scene. Mm-hmm. That really could have been a disaster in lesser hands.
And you had last episode was kind of focused on what Victor was doing. And now this time was about Sierra. Which we learn her real name is Priya.
Yeah.
And her how she got to
the dollhouse.
To the dollhouse.
I thought it was heartbreaking too. Honestly, I mean, I thought it was it was like a Greek tragedy. It was like she just could not escape this guy screwing up her life.
Yes, this guy Nolan, who I guess works for the Rossum Corporation that runs the dollhouse, and I guess he had a lot of pull over.
Apparently.
Yeah. I
mean, an insane amount of pull. And he had the expertise to know how to combine the right drugs to make her crazy. Topher, the other scene that I loved in this was the scene between Topher and Mr. Wick.
Yes.
And she says to him, everyone here is chosen because their morals have somehow been compromised, but not you. You were chosen because you have no morals.
Yes.
And then he has his first moral dilemma as an adult, which is kind of sad. And this is what happens. It's a total disaster for him. Yes,
he ends up trying to help and save Sierra, but ends up causing a kind of a disaster that Boyd has to come in and kind of save the day, which is, though Topher did pay the price for it with a very traumatic experience, a la Shallow Grave.
Yeah.
He's got to hack up the body, sulfuric acid,
Which is a great movie. It is. Well, and I mean, I think that, she says you always take really good care of your toys, and I think they're all sort of coming to a reckoning inside of themselves about what it is they're really doing. Because, sure, you take this extreme example and you see how this person's a rapist, but you're raping all these people all the time. You're raping their heads, like all the time. And I think, they're just starting to understand with these extreme examples what it is that they're really doing.
Yes, and then with what Nolan wanted, it brings up the question of, well, what is living and what is death in terms of if Sierra is now imprinted for life into that body and sent to Nolan and do whatever he wants, then where is Priya?
Dead.
She's dead.
Yeah.
And so that's the dilemma they're coming across, that we can't send her like that, because essentially, even DeWitt has that moral dilemma, because she, in her mind, justifies it by saying, look, we give them money after 5 years, they serve 5 years, they know what they're getting into, and then therefore, when they come out, they come back as themselves, but now they have money, you know? But this doesn't follow that at all.
No, not at all. I mean, and this is a total break, and I think that she might be starting to see how things are going to and are spinning out of control, because people do not have the moral functioning to restrain themselves from making horrifically bad decisions for themselves and for humanities, given that amount of power. And I think they're really starting to see, okay, this thing is going to go somewhere. I don't control this anymore. And it's going to get even more out of control, as we know.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about people's morals being compromised is that she seemed to indicate that all the dolls' morals had in some way been compromised as well. We saw Victor had been a soldier.
Yes.
And so that now that Pri has committed a murder because of what the dollhouse, now she belongs in the dollhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then before she gets wiped again to become Sierra, she tells Topher to erase this memory from her mind. So when she comes back, she never has to relive it or think about it ever again. Topher doesn't have that luxury.
No, he doesn't. Well, I guess he could do it to himself if he really wanted.
Well, he could try and trust someone like Ivy to do it, but I don't know. I don't think he would, though.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. Like, we need to live with our actions. We need to live with our lives because that's what makes us human and whole, you know? We need to remember those things. I mean, I think it just starts to, it starts to look at those questions in a deeper way, and that's how I think that the show is living up to its potential now.
Yeah, definitely. With the last episode and this episode, it's definitely going in the right momentum.
Yeah.
So the next topic we're talking about is the Victor and Sierra love. Which, was, I guess they were trying to say there was like some sort of subconscious, physical, maybe even mental attraction between the two because they were able to connect even when they weren't really supposed to be connecting and have no memory of connecting.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a romantic, so I loved that. I did, because it was like, even when he's on an engagement to get her to date this other guy, they can't help but want each other because it's pheromones, it's their scent. They're drawn to each other's smell.
Yes. And they're holding hands in the dollhouse, and he wanted to go with her, and
And he took the paint because she doesn't like that color.
And destroyed it.
Yeah, and then it was interesting because he had a flash of a memory via that experience. It seems like the more human connections they're making, the more they're remembering their own humanity. Because remember, he remembered, she had to comfort him because when she painted on the black paint, he remembered being a soldier.
Yeah. And then also, you had the shot of them sleeping together at the end.
I didn't think they'd really let them do that, but it was, I was okay with it because I thought it was really sweet.
Yeah. And then we have Echo's involvement by bringing the painting, the paintings that Sierra has been making with the big black blob to Topher.
Yeah.
To like, I guess, to get him to question what is going on with Sierra and why is she doing this.
It's Boyd or Ballard, never in the same place at the same time. And so this week it's now Boyd who's understanding how self-aware Echo is really becoming. I love Boyd. I do. I love his character and I love his relationship with Echo. It seems to have some depth and layers to it that the other relationships on the show don't have, because he's a pretty dark guy. A guy that knows how to do that cleanup.
Yes.
Go to my car and get the sulfuric acid.
Yes.
But he's got this genuine love.
Yes. He actually cares for the dolls or the actives.
Yeah.
That, I mean, he's basically kind of risking his job in order to help Topher and Sierra out.
Yeah, he is. And I love his character, so I hope that they're able to find a way to have them both on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons I like where it's going right now is it seems like the dollhouse is almost becoming like a metaphor for our society at large. And in kind of like technological advances out of control, and how 90% of the people in control are really morally compromised, and then the rest of the population, the dolls, are asleep half the time. And so Echo's awakening, I feel like, is an awakening, a cultural awakening. Am I taking it too far?
No, I could see that.
Do you guys like that? I don't know.
All right, guys, so that's what we thought of this episode of Dollhouse. You can let us know what you think by posting on the website below.
Or on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the Think Hero YouTube account.
Or you can follow us on Twitter. Mine is @ThinkHero.
@JRossi.
All right, later.